Standing here this evening makes me feel like miracles are real. And if that's the case, then I am sure I'm looking at several, maybe even my own personal angels. Where I come from, college isn't much of a reality. It's almost a fantasy. Even graduating from high school was a major accomplishment for many of us. And getting a job and scraping together some sort of life was the pinnacle of achievement in my neighborhood. But I've always had an inkling that I wanted more. As a child, I dreamed of being a writer. I had always been creative, so the thought of being able to express myself and making a living out of it made sense. I wasn't going to have to endure the struggles of my childhood as an adult. There were times when my sister and I lived without water, gas, lights, and even food. I was determined that wasn't going to be my path. But over time, the light in my eye dimmed, and reality squared against with my dreams. I got a job after high school and didn't look back. My father always taught us to work, and after we reached a certain age, it was our responsibility to provide for ourselves. The jobs I landed weren't ideal, but I was on my own trying to build a life for myself. And I remember where I come from, that's as far as most go. Still, my dreams never left me, and after a few years of working, I enrolled in the Ohio Media School. 8 years later, I enrolled in Tri-C and graduated in 2 years with an associate's in filmmaking. Maybe this was the moment I thought my life would change and I have a real chance at a career. Those hopes were soon dashed when I was rejected from every position I sought. I needed a 4-year degree, they told me. And even though I had attended some form of higher education for a total of 2.5 years, the prospect of obtaining a 4-year degree seemed like an impossibility. People like me can't do that, I tell myself. No one in my life had ever done it. Why was I any different? So I gave up. I washed my hands of trying to do any better, to reach for anything more. I had reached my ceiling, and it was better if I came to terms with that than continue to have my heart broken. At the beginning of 2019, I found out I was pregnant. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. But how could I bring a child into this world? I wasn't happy. I was 30 years old, working a job I hated with a few prospects. Something had to give. My child had to know a better life. And I knew that meant I had to face my fears, confront my doubts, and go after my bachelor's degree. I gave birth to my son in September 2019, and instead of returning to my job after maternity leave, I signed up for government assistance and enrolled in Cleveland State University, January 2020. Money was always a concern. I had modest savings, but I knew that wasn't going to last long. I wasn't working. I was living on my own with a baby and now attending college. I doubted that I'd be able to finish with limited resources, but with the encouragement of a friend, I pushed through. I eased into the semester with a relatively light course load, and even though the pandemic sent my first semester of classes online, I got the hang of it quickly. In the fall of 2020, I was even more confident. My life was finally headed in the right direction. Even when I learned that I had exhausted my ability to apply for loans, I was unfazed. My savings had sustained my son and I and there was enough left for me to pay for the rest of school. But on April 1st, 2021, my world was shattered. In a span of just one day, my dad was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer and died hours later. My head spun as I tried to process the grief, but I didn't have much time for that because the next day I was forced out of my apartment and had to move in with my mother. The aftermath of my dad's passing, we discovered that he didn't have life insurance. So my sister and I were left footing the bill for his final arrangements. It meant that I had to use my savings, the money that was paying for the rest of my college career, to lay my dad to rest. Suddenly, I was left without any money to pay for college, without a home of my own, and without one of my biggest supporters in my life. 3 weeks later, my uncle died, and I didn't know how I was going to continue. I somehow mustered the strength to finish the spring semester, but thought that was it. Life, once again, was showing me what it had in store for me. Heartbreak, disappointment, and struggle. That summer, I questioned returning to CSU in the fall, but my dad's voice echoed in my heart. Money, he used to call me that. You're about to have your bachelor's degree. After that, you can write your own ticket, he said before he died. It was enough encouragement I needed to finish what I started. To my surprise, I had just enough in loans to start classes in fall 2021. I didn't know how it would pay for the rest of my time, but I had came too far to quit. Up until this point, the thought of qualifying for scholarships had never dawned on me, but a representative in financial aid urged me to look online for what might be available. I had worked hard as a student, had good grades, and was even a part of 2 honor societies. Even as doubt swirled through my mind, one night I looked at my baby boy, and I knew I had to figure this out for him. So I applied for everything. Halfway through the semester in October, I noticed that I had been awarded 2 scholarships. Tears fell down my face from the relief that my tuition had been covered for the rest of the semester. In November, I received another scholarship, and at this time, it triggered a refund that helped me move into a brand new apartment in a safe neighborhood right before the holidays. I was even able to give my son a great Christmas. And my last semester was fully covered through scholarship support. This Saturday, I graduate with honors. I went from fully doubting myself, almost crippling myself, to realizing a lifelong dream. I know without a shadow of a doubt that I would not be here if it weren't for donors like you. Your support lifted me out of the darkest times in my life. You helped me believe again. You helped me dream again. And though my son doesn't know now, you changed his life too. He's going to know a better life. He's going to know that college is within reach. He's going to know that there are no limits for him. And he's going to know that there are good people in this world who want to see him succeed. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. This fall, I plan on attending graduate school here at CSU. And this time, I know I can do it. I may have regrets about time that I felt I wasted, but I'm here now, stronger, more confident, hopeful, and after having endured what I have, and because of people who have supported me along the way, there's nothing that can stop me. Thank you.